This is your first Q&A time, writing at 120 words per minute. Your proper names are Mr. Cahill, Patrick A. Cahill, Wilcox High School, English, Foster High School, Court, and Federation of Teachers. Ready? Mr. Cahill, would you be good enough to state your full name?
Patrick A. Cahill.
How do you spell your last name?
Cahill.
What is your occupation, Mr. Cahill?
I am Assistant Superintendent of Schools.
As the Assistant Superintendent, what are your duties?
In general, I am responsible for all teachers and principals. I am also responsible for area superintendents.
What responsibilities do you have for the general operation of the instructional program?
Well, I work directly with the teachers on a day-to-day basis.
How long have you worked in the public school system?
I have been connected with the system for 23 years.
Before becoming the assistant superintendent, what positions did you hold?
I was principal of Wilcox High School for 10 years, and I taught English at Foster High School for 8 years.
In discharging your duties as assistant superintendent, do you maintain an ongoing familiarity with all the schools in the district?
I do.
Does that include teacher attendance as well as student attendance?
Yes.
Does that also include the educational activities going on in the schools?
Yes.
Could you tell the court how many schools make up the school district?
There are 75 elementary schools, 16 junior high schools, and 7 high schools.
Could you tell the court how many teachers there are in the system?
There are approximately 2,950 teachers.
Could you tell the court how many students there are in the system?
Approximately 63,400.
Mr. Cahill, would you tell us what conditions now exist in the public school system?
Well, we are involved in a strike called by the Federation of Teachers.
When did that strike begin?
It started April 13.
How many days has it been in progress?
We are now in our 5th day.
All right. Do you have a record of the number of teachers who have been absent each day since the beginning of the strike?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a record of the number of students who have been absent each day since the beginning of the strike?
Yes, sir.
Based on this data, will you be able to tell the court the number of teachers that have been absent each day since the beginning of the strike?
Yes, sir. On Wednesday, April 13, there were 1,610 teachers absent out of a total of 2,950. On Thursday, April 14, there were 1,787 teachers absent. On Friday, April 15, there were 1,777 teachers absent. On Monday, April 18, there were 1,865 teachers absent.
Will you now tell the court the number of students that have been absent each day since the strike began?
On Wednesday, April 13, there were 26,524 students absent out of a total of 63,400. On Thursday, April 14, there were 31,600 students absent. On Friday, April 15, there were 35,013 students absent. On Monday, April 18, there were 32,730 students absent.
Now, Mr. Cahill, have you computed the total number of student class hours that have been lost since the beginning of the strike?
Based on the figures I have just given, 755,160 student class hours have been lost in the first 4 days of the strike.
Are you able to tell the court the extent? This is your second Q&A time writing at 120 words per minute. Your proper names are Mr. Benson, Watson Press, Hutchinson Manufacturing Company, Hutchinson Northwest Machine Company, Northwest, and Anti-Repeat. Ready? Mr. Benson, what is your job with Watson Press?
I am the general manager.
What is the primary product of the company?
We manufacture small punch presses.
How long has the company been in the business of manufacturing such presses?
I believe since 1917.
How many employees do you have in the plant?
Right now we have 28.
Is any of the work subcontracted?
Some of the parts are subcontracted.
In other words, you receive parts from other companies,
Some parts, yes.
but the actual putting together of the press is all done in your plant. Is that correct?
Yes.
How about the sales operation?
We handle the sales also.
Do you also handle the servicing of the presses?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the subject matter?
Yes.
Now, your organization sold a press to the Hutchinson Manufacturing Company. Is that correct?
No.
Is the punch press involved in this case one of your presses?
To my knowledge, it is.
Do you know how it got to the Hutchinson plant?
We sold the press to the Northwest Machine Company, and it was shipped direct to Hutchinson.
But the original purchase order was from Northwest. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Are they one of your customers on a regular basis?
They are an agent of Watson Press.
As far as you know, are they a company wholly independent from Watson Press?
As far as I know, yes.
Are they like a dealer or a middleman?
They would be considered a dealer.
Does Watson Press have a written contract with Northwest?
No.
Were you involved in the purchase of this particular press by Northwest to be delivered to Hutchinson?
In the sale of it,
Yes.
I handled the sale to Northwest.
Were there certain specifications in the order?
Yes.
Were those specifications drawn up by Northwest or Hutchinson?
The ones we received were by Northwest. We did not see the paperwork from Hutchinson.
What form did these specifications take?
They were just part of the purchase order.
Was there any need for special designing because of this order?
No.
You were able to take the parts out of your stock and complete the order. Is that right?
That's right.
Is this how it is usually done?
Yes.
Now, did this purchase order from Northwest call for an anti-repeat device?
Yes.
Is that an optional piece of equipment?
I believe at the time of this order, it was standard equipment on the press.
Do you happen to know when it became standard equipment?
I believe it was in January of 1975.
Is this one of the items that is subcontracted to another supplier?
Yes.
Did the purchase order from Northwest call for this anti-repeat device?
Yes.
At that time, did you maintain a certain supply in stock?
Yes.
Was the press assembled according to their specifications?
Yes.
And it was delivered direct to Hutchinson?
Yes.
Prior to its delivery to Hutchinson, was it examined by anyone from Northwest?
Not to my knowledge.
Is that the customary way these things are done?
Yes.
Did Northwest pay Watson Press?
Yes.
Just as a matter of information, why don't you deal direct with Hutchinson? In other words, why do we have this middleman?
We do a lot of direct selling, but we also allow machinery dealers to sell our equipment.
Was Northwest billed shortly after the press was installed?
They would have been billed immediately when the press was shipped.
How was this press shipped?
As